What happens when a former royal walks onto a talk show believing she can control the narrative, only to face hosts who refuse to play along? The air inside Studio 3B was thick enough to cut with a knife as cameras rolled for what was supposed to be a lighthearted morning chat. Instead, viewers witnessed one of the most explosive confrontations in daytime television history. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button and drop a comment below, because trust me, you'll have thoughts after hearing how this went down. The morning began like any other. Kelly Ripa adjusted her earpiece and glanced at her notes, trading quick smiles with her co-host and husband, Mark Consuelos, who was warming up the audience with his usual charm. The atmosphere was bright, casual, exactly what their viewers expected. "All right, everyone, we're back in 60 seconds, called the floor director. "Our guest is in makeup, ready for segment 2. Kelly raised an eyebrow at Mark. "Did you read these pre-interview notes? Some of the talking points feel scripted." Mark nodded. "Yeah, I noticed. Usually guests are more flexible. This one feels different. 5, 4, 3, 2, and they were live." "Welcome back to the show." Kelly beamed at the camera. "We're joined now by someone who needs no introduction, but we'll give her one anyway. Please welcome our guest." Applause filled the studio as Meghan walked on stage. Posture straight, smile precise. "Thank you so much for having me," she said, her voice smooth, practiced. "Of course," Mark replied warmly. "We're excited to hear about your latest projects, some new ventures, I believe." Meghan's smile tightened. "Actually, I was hoping we could focus on the more important work I'm doing addressing systemic injustice and social reform." Kelly exchanged a subtle glance with Mark. Not unusual, many guests wanted to spotlight their causes, but something in Meghan's tone hinted this wouldn't be a routine interview. "Absolutely," Kelly said smoothly. "Though our viewers also enjoy hearing about the lighter side of life. Maybe we can start with how you're adjusting to—" "I think it's more important to use this platform responsibly," Meghan cut in, her voice sharpening. "Too often morning shows waste airtime on frivolous topics while real issues go ignored." Mark's eyebrows lifted slightly. In 15 years of hosting, he'd rarely seen a guest criticize the show format within 2 minutes. "Well, we do cover serious topics," he said carefully. "But it's a morning show. People expect a mix." "Exactly my point," Meghan said, leaning in. "You have the reach to shape public opinion, yet you spend time discussing celebrity fashion instead of inequality." Kelly's smile didn't falter, but her eyes narrowed almost imperceptibly. "Our viewers appreciate variety," she replied evenly. "We cover breaking news, politics, activism, and yes, some moments of joy. There's value in both." "Joy," Meghan repeated, her tone cool. "While people suffer? While children go hungry?" The studio fell silent. Even the crew had stopped moving. Mark tried to steer things back. "We'd love to hear about your foundation's latest initiatives. Can you tell us more?" "That's exactly what I'm trying to do," Meghan said, her voice rising. "But you keep steering it toward fluff." "I came here to talk about real change, not my favorite restaurants." "No one asked about your restaurants," Kelly said, a faint edge creeping in. "We simply wanted to start with your new chapter. It seemed natural." "Natural to whom?" Meghan shot back. "The same media machine that reduces women to their personal lives instead of their work?" The tension was now palpable. Mark took a steadying breath. "We invited you here because we respect your work," he said. "But this is a conversation, not a lecture." "A conversation requires listening," Meghan replied coolly, "and respect for the guest's priorities." Kelly set her coffee cup down with a soft clink that echoed in the silence. "We respect our guests and our audience. They tune in expecting a certain kind of show. Maybe your audience deserves better than what they expect," Meghan said. The silence that followed felt eternal. In the control booth, producers gestured frantically. Should they cut to commercial or let this unfold? Kelly's calm voice broke the silence. "Did you just suggest our audience doesn't deserve what we deliver?" "I'm suggesting they deserve content that challenges and inspires them," Meghan replied. "And you don't think we provide that?" Mark asked, his patience thinning. "I think you provide entertainment masquerading as information," Meghan said bluntly, "a distraction from the real issues." The studio was dead quiet now. Kelly leaned forward, her tone cool but firm. "So you came on our show, used our platform, and now you're telling us what we do is meaningless." "I'd call it misguided," Meghan said. "A missed opportunity to make a real difference." Mark's jaw clenched. You know what? Maybe we should take a step back. Why? Meghan challenged. Because I won't play along with the fake niceties? Because I'm being honest? Because you're being incredibly rude to people who invited you into their home? Kelly said, her voice low and controlled. Our viewers don't tune in to watch someone attack the hosts. Maybe they should, Meghan countered. Maybe they should see what happens when someone refuses to take part in the dumbing down of America. The control room was chaos. Half the team wanted to cut to commercial. The other half couldn't look away. The dumbing down of America? Mark repeated slowly. That's right, Meghan said, leaning forward. You keep people distracted from what really matters. You give people just enough surface-level information to feel informed, Meghan said, leaning forward. But never enough depth to truly understand or act on anything meaningful. Kelly's laugh was sharp, humorless. That's rich. Coming from someone whose claim to fame is marrying into a family that exists purely for ceremony. The studio went silent. Even the camera operator froze. Everyone knew Kelly had crossed a line, but Meghan had pushed her there. Excuse me? Meghan snapped, her cheeks flushing. You heard me, Kelly said, her composure gone. You want to talk about substance versus fluff? About missed opportunities and shallow content? Let's discuss someone who had every privilege handed to them and still found a way to complain about how hard life was. You don't know anything about my life, Meghan shot back, her voice rising. You have no idea what I've had to overcome. What you've had to overcome. Mark interjected, his patience finally breaking. You've been given opportunities most people can't even dream of. And instead of showing gratitude, you're sitting here telling us we're not good enough for you. I never said that, Meghan protested, though her earlier words said plenty. You didn't have to, Kelly said coldly. It's been dripping from every sentence since you sat down. You didn't come here for a conversation. You came here with an agenda. To prove how much more enlightened you are than the rest of us. Meghan stood abruptly, her chair rolling back. I don't have to sit here and listen to this. Actually, Mark said firmly, you do. You accepted this interview. You're on our show using our platform. You finish this conversation like a professional. Professional? Meghan laughed bitterly. That's a funny word coming from people who just attacked me on live television. We responded to your attacks, Kelly said, her voice ice cold. You've insulted our show, our audience, and our work since the moment you walked out here. What exactly did you expect? I expected to be treated with respect, Meghan snapped. Respect is earned, Mark replied evenly. And you've shown none, to us or to the people watching. Meghan's eyes darted around the studio. Crew members stared, shocked. Audience members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. This is exactly what I'm talking about, she said, gesturing wildly. The moment someone tries to have a real conversation about important issues, they get attacked. Important issues? Kelly echoed, incredulous. You haven't mentioned a single one. Not one program, not one initiative. Just endless criticism. You wouldn't let me talk about them, Meghan fired back. We literally asked about your foundation, Mark said. You turned it into an attack on morning television. I was trying to make a larger point about media responsibility, Meghan said, though even she sounded unconvinced. By insulting our audience? Kelly pressed. That was your strategy for social change? The floor director waved frantically for a commercial break, but the hosts ignored him. This had gone too far to stop now. You're twisting my words, Meghan said, though the cameras had caught every syllable. We don't have to twist anything, Mark replied. You called our show shallow. You accused us of dumbing down America. You said our viewers deserve better. Those are your words. I was trying to elevate the conversation, Meghan insisted, by tearing everyone else down, Kelly countered. That's your idea of elevation? For the first time, Meghan hesitated. The confidence drained from her expression. Look, she said finally, her tone softening. Maybe we got off on the wrong foot. Maybe? Mark raised an eyebrow. You spent 10 minutes calling us corporate shills. I didn't mean it personally, Meghan said, though it had been impossible to take otherwise. How else could we take it? Kelly asked. You came onto our show and immediately questioned our integrity, our intelligence, and our professionalism. I was trying to start a dialogue about the role of media, Meghan said, her voice smaller now. No, Mark said firmly. You were trying to deliver a lecture. There's a difference. Silence filled the studio. The tension was so thick it seemed to hum in the air. Meghan looked around again, finally sensing just how isolated she'd become. "I think this interview isn't going the way any of us hoped," she said carefully. "That's the understatement of the year," Kelly replied dryly. "You know what?" Kelly stood, her voice steady but charged. "You're right. This interview isn't going how we hoped, and I know exactly why." Meghan crossed her arms. "Oh, please. Enlighten me." "Because you didn't come here for an interview," Kelly said. "You came here to make a statement. To show everyone how much better you think you are than the rest of us." "That's not true," Meghan said, but the conviction was gone from her voice. Mark rose too, heightening the tension. "Then what do you call it? You've talked down to us, insulted our viewers, and lectured us about media responsibility while showing none yourself." "I was trying to have a meaningful conversation," Meghan said quietly. "A meaningful conversation involves listening," Kelly shot back. "All you've done is deliver a prepared speech you were going to give no matter what we asked." The audience sat frozen, phones raised, recording every word. "You don't understand the position I'm in," Meghan said suddenly, her tone almost pleading. "The expectations, the responsibility I feel to use my platform for good." "Your platform?" Mark repeated, incredulous. "This is our platform, our show, our audience. You're a guest here, and you've acted like you're doing us a favor." "I am doing you a favor," Meghan blurted before realizing how it sounded. "Do you know how many interviews I turned down? How selective I have to be?" Another stunned silence. Even Meghan seemed to hear how disastrous her words were. Kelly's laugh was low and sharp. "There it is. The truth. You're not here to discuss issues or have a dialogue. You're here to grace us with your presence." "That's not what I meant," Meghan said quickly, but the damage was done. "That's exactly what you meant," Mark said, his voice final. "You think you're better than this show. Better than us, better than our audience. And if that's how you feel, you don't belong here." "Are you serious?" Meghan demanded. "You're throwing me off your show because I wanted a real conversation?" "We're asking you to leave," Kelly said, voice steady but cold. "Because you've been disrespectful, condescending, and insulting from the moment you sat down. This isn't about having a real conversation. It's about basic decency, and you've shown none." "This is unbelievable," Meghan said, shaking her head. "You're proving my point. The moment someone challenges the status quo, they get silenced." "Nobody silenced you," Mark replied. "We gave you a platform and you used it to attack us. That's not censorship, that's consequences." "My actions?" Meghan demanded. "What actions? Trying to elevate the discourse?" "Your actions," Kelly said slowly, "include insulting our show, dismissing our audience, and implying we're part of some conspiracy to keep America dumb." "I never said conspiracy," Meghan muttered. "You didn't have to," Mark said. "Your meaning was clear enough." Meghan took a breath, her tone finally shifting toward contrition. "Look, obviously there's been some miscommunication. Maybe we can start over.